Hello everybody, dear friends, clients, astrology lovers, of course, my English-speaking followers. Here is Olga Vasilchuk, and I would like to present you today the astrological review of the last week of March, from March 26th until April 1st, 2018. Actually, the last week of March will be the most difficult period of the month. In the last 10 days of March and in early April, we will be, unfortunately, intolerant towards others. We can behave excessively aggressively. In communication, we will strive to impose our opinion. And all of these can lead to aggression or to hasty and unproductive actions and steps and decisions. Now it's better to pay attention to current affairs and projects, to analyze what has been done before, previously, to listen to ourselves, to pay attention to the deferred ideas and to the journey already made, so to look at the present and at the past, because our vision of the future will be in the area of limited visibility. This will be a difficult week, full of tension and obstacles. This doesn't cancel our progress, but it makes it difficult and quite limited. The main difficulty of the last 10 days of March is that we will not understand what all the difficulties consist in and how to manage the changes that are coming up. Because they will come, the changes. They will happen very, very soon. The problem of control and of strong pressure on our part toward others and from other people towards us will manifest itself especially from March 24th until March 29th, the last days of the week, the last days of the month. And the events of these days can lead us to a reassessment of our attachments and choices. And in fact, in the end, finally, everything will be fine. But when we give up to something meaningful that was important for us before, previously, in the past, it is very difficult for us to imagine that in new conditions we could feel well and comfortable. I'd like to remind you that Mercury is retrograde since March 23rd. It will be in the retrograde movement until April 14th, and this will cause misunderstandings and errors in working with documents. It will cause confusion and delays in transport schedules. Therefore, we should be more attentive in our everyday life and rather try to finish what we have started before, without launching new projects. But I have a separate video on the subject about Mercury retrograde in Aries. I invite you to watch this video. You will find it in the playlist. A very powerful aspect, conjunction of Venus-Uranus on March 29th will be in the orb between March 25th until April 1st, so the last days of the week and of the month. Venus conjuncts Uranus, and during this period many of us may discover new interests and hobbies, new and unusual ideas about our self-expression in the world can also appear. Some of us will even want to try a new field of activity. For people belonging to creative professions like designers, artists, musicians, poets, painters, of course, this time can be very fruitful, productive. In love, since Venus symbolizes love, we will feel the need, the necessity to give up to the routine, to bring innovations in life and in relationships, to meet maybe old friends that we have not seen for a long time. The transit reinforces romanticism, the tendency to flirt, pushes us towards adventure, can bring new unusual encounters. Basically, this is the time of surprises. Since Venus symbolizes also material values and money, as far as finances can be concerned, we may expect profits, unexpected cash flow, one-time payments, surprising one-time payments, gifts, appearance of new earning opportunities, but also unforeseen, unnecessary, or extravagant expenses. So be careful, watch your wallet. This was rather good news, conjunction Venus-Uranus, because me personally, being Aquarius, rising Aquarius, I like a lot the energies of Uranus. The same day on March 29, the Sun will form a tense, difficult aspect of 90 degrees with Saturn. So the Sun will be in square with Saturn. This aspect will create a conflict between the desire to implement new programs and to start new projects and the realities of life. Pedantry, exaggerated organization, bureaucracy, excessive regulation will dislodge novelty, and which will force us to look for ways to overcome disagreements. This is the aspect of delays, obstacles, slowing down. Pessimism, sadness, maybe even depression and even sorrow that we may feel during this transit risks to make us immerse in the state of apathy. This is an aspect of depression, sadness, delays, obstacles. Okay, this is one of the most difficult aspects, and its consequence will be slowness and lack of determination, which may delay making of important decisions for a long time. During this transit, square Sun-Saturn, the physical vitality and the protective functions of the body will be reduced. So be careful not to work too much, otherwise you will feel too tired. Intimate relationships with the partners and those with loved ones, with the members of our family, will only be a burden to us. During a few days close to the exact aspect, it will be better to limit personal contacts. Our loved ones can doubt about our attitude towards them because of our insensitivity, the lack of objectivity, the selfishness, and the even dictatorial attitude on our part. This period is full of various conflicts, quarrels. We could even feel frustration and disappointment in our partners and in our loved ones. In certain situations, the cooling in the relationships, going up to a breakup, to the separation, or even to the divorce, are possible. But once again, this is just a background transit aspect. It doesn't create events. If we talk about the risk of divorce or separation, we have to find the confirmation. We have to find the indication of the divorce in other techniques of predictive techniques. So don't panic, but keep in mind that this background aspect may cause sad mood obstacles in everyday life, but will not obligatorily provoke a separation, breakup, a divorce in your specific case. In order to predict divorce or conflict in a partnership, we have to look at your personal birth chart and to your individual predictions. The full moon on the 31st of March, the full moon in the 10th degree of Libra, 8:36 a.m. Montreal, New York time, will be rather difficult full moon. It highlights the themes of partnership and of cooperation. It can cause very harsh situations, can change radically our plans and restructure our relationships. Old problems, decisions that have been postponed can come back into our lives in a complicated form. Some topics and situations may be suddenly finished. The moment of the full moon, as it always happens during the full moon, will reveal the hidden factors of the new moon of March 17th, 2 weeks ago. The moon in Libra will be in opposition to the Sun, which is in its turn in the conjunction with Mercury in Aries. And these three planets are in their turn in square. They form two squares to the conjunction Mars-Saturn. Mars-Saturn square Moon, Mars-Saturn square Sun-Mercury. So what we have here, the T-square, the configuration of planetary aspects called this T-square, one opposition and two squares. And this T-square has no harmonious aspects, not a single sextile or a trine. So which poses a problem. The difficulties that we will accumulate by this moment, and which will reach the peak of their concentration, will not have simple solutions. We can face pressure, power abuse, or attempts of manipulation, as well as conflicts with the partners, with the authorities, with the law. This may be the time of the end of a cooperation, of a partnership, or there's another possibility, another scenario. In order to continue a cooperation or a partnership, the two parts will need to agree on the mutual respect of the conditions, which will be rather difficult to do, because this is what happens during the opposition Sun-Moon. We oppose ourselves to the person who is in front of us. So the both sides will not be able to find the areas of agreement. It will be very difficult to find the area of agreement. So the days close to the full moon in Libra, we must absolutely respect subordination and discipline. It's better not to sit down at the negotiation table, because we will most probably we will not find the compromise, the solution. It will be difficult for us to listen to each other, to hear each other. So thus the end of March, beginning of April, on the background of the full moon, on the background of the T-square which is formed during the full moon and during the retrograde phase of Mercury, this moment, this period, the end of March, beginning of April, brings to the forefront in our lives the following important topics: partnership relationships, the issues of obligations, commitments, and responsibilities. And as I said before, in fragile, unstable relations, we may eventually talk about a breakup, a separation, or a divorce. If you have the indications of these possible events in your personal predictive techniques. But I would like to finish by something joyful, with the good news, the ingression of the week, the ingression of Venus into the sign of Taurus on the 31st of March, the last day of the month. Venus will stay in Taurus until the April 24th. Venus was in Aries before, it's still in Aries until the end of the month. And the transit of Venus by the sign of Aries, it's a weak position, right? For Venus, it's in detriment, what we call in detriment. And this transit was particularly difficult for women. During this transit, their feminine essence is subjected to tests by very harsh energies. The challenge of this time for women during the transit of Venus by Aries is to remain soft, tolerant, tender, sensitive, to transmit the currents of feminine energy. But on the other hand, the transit of Venus in Aries adds passion to partnership relationships, right? But on March 31st, Venus enters the cautious Taurus, which is without doubt a plus in the context of the T-square of the full moon. And it will be easier for us, because it will be easier for us to control our feelings and emotions. So it increases the chance of avoiding impulsive explosions, which in its turn helps us to escape from unnecessary problems. So the background energies are very tense, very difficult. The full moon as a part of the T-square, Mercury retrograde. But this ingression of Venus into Taurus somehow saves us, if I can say so. It helps us to stay more earth to earth, more grounded, more calm and self-controlled, okay? And a couple of words to finish my analysis. A couple of words on the transit of Venus by Taurus. Venus in Taurus is in the strongest position, right? It's in the sign of its rulership. During the transit of Venus by Taurus, we will want to acquire beautiful and expensive objects, for items of prestigious brands. We will seek and appreciate comfort and beauty. Relationships with the partners will be strengthened, because we will all need emotional stability, and we will look for this, for the stability. It's also a good time for the realization of any creative project. We may want to make important purchases, to sign long-term agreements, business and professional sphere, and also maybe in love, to get engaged. But don't forget that Mercury is retrograde until April 14th, so it's better to give up to new project signing of agreements, at least until the end of the retrograde phase of Mercury. Okay, so I wish you wonderful, awesome, marvelous, constructive full moon. Stay wise, use the advices of astrology to your advantage, improve your life thanks to the astrology. And thank you for your time, and talk to you very, very soon the next week. Goodbye.